Hello. Hi, guys. Whew. It has been a minute. It has been a long time. I hope everybody is doing well. I hope everybody is getting ready for this holiday season. And I hope everybody is doing everything that they can do to remain safe with their families so that we can live to see another day and come out of this holiday season in one piece. With that being said, even though I haven't recorded a segment in like forever, somehow I felt compelled to speak on a very important subject. It is a topic that seems to be trending as of late, and it's I guess maybe for the Black community it could be somewhat of a touchy subject. I guess you can say, it's an unspoken taboo for the Black community, for the Black culture, as far as mental health is concerned and as far as seeking professional help. Recently, we saw where a very popular DJ, my prayer and my heart, my condolences goes out to his family. Twitch, I know of him by watching Ellen, and I've seen a few episodes of where he was a judge on So You Think You Can Dance. And judging from the outside, you can tell, or it seems that he was a very outgoing person, a very happy person, someone that seems to love and enjoy life to the maximum capacity. May he have eternal rest. May he find the peace that he so sought after in this side of the world. Again, my heart and my prayers goes out to his family, to everybody that may have known him personally, to everybody that he may have come into contact with, and the many lives that he have impacted in such a positive way just by being who he was, or the kind of person that he was. To many, he may have been the beacon of hope and the beacon of light that he was able to shed on the people, and to somehow give them encouragement to live to see another day. With that being said, depression, oh God, depression is such a deep topic. It is one of those topics that has so many layers to dissect. It's one of those things, it's one of those subjects that is, one of the many wonders of the world that is so hard to explain. It is so hard to understand, to fully get a grasp of what depression really is. And people are depressed every day, some more than others. And sometimes, listen, I have been depressed a time or two in my life before. And when I tell you, the prison of your mind, that is the hardest jail, the hardest prison that you can ever try to escape from. The torture that you put yourself through just by being in total and complete lockdown in your mind, that is something serious. That is something so serious. And many people will say, well, why didn't you reach out to somebody? I'm sure there was somebody that you could have talked to. I'm sure there was somebody that would have understood if only you have tried. And the thing is, I made a YouTube video about it. Oh, you guys can, check out my channel on YouTube. It's called Cheyenne Angel Let's Rant. Well, small promotion there. But I made a video in regards to that. Because oftentimes when tragedy strikes, the first thing people would say is, well, why didn't they reach out to somebody? Why didn't they open their mouth and speak? Why they didn't do this and why they didn't do that? And my question is, what makes you think they didn't? What makes you think that people that are going through mental issues, that are going through a state of depression, what makes you think for 1 second that they didn't attempt to reach out to somebody? Because I'm pretty sure they did. Anybody that may be going through depression right now, that may be going through some type of mental health issue right now, that may feel like there is no way out and their only option or their only resort is to take their life. Honestly, let's think about it for a second. Maybe that was the very last resort. Taking their own life more than likely would have been, some would say the easiest decision or the easiest choice. And some would say it probably was the hardest decision that they could have come up with at the end of the day. But no matter how you decide to flip the coin, either way, it is a very hard decision to come by for that to be the only resort that you see your way out. So again, I ask everyone publicly under the sound of my voice that may stumble upon my podcast, that may be listening to my podcast, ask yourself, did they not try to reach out to somebody? Or were we too self-absorbed, too self-consuming, too selfish within ourselves to actually pay attention when that person cried out for help? Ask yourself. Because I'm pretty sure there was some type of indication. There were maybe a sign. I don't know. And mind you, this is not to lay guilt at anybody. This is not to cast blame on anybody. But sometimes we have to ask ourselves, what did we miss? Because what I gather, and this is my own personal opinion, from the situation with the late, great Robin Williams, when he too took his life. What I gather is that the happiest people, the people that go out of their way to make sure that everybody is okay, I guess what you would call, quote unquote, the strong people, the people that always seems to want to make everybody else smile, the people that always seems to be this brightest beacon, this brightest ray of light that everybody looks to. They are usually, again, this is my personal opinion. This is no scientific fact, no study. So don't come for me and don't quote me because I am not a professional. Again, this is my personal opinion. Oftentimes, those people are the most depressed people. Oftentimes, the people that laugh the longest and laugh the loudest, that's always trying to make sure that everybody else is okay and that everybody else feels good about themselves and that everybody else is happy and smiling. Those people are usually the most sad and the most depressed people because they put on this facade. They put on this mask to hide their pain. And because they know they are in so much hurt, so much pain, so much turmoil within themselves, and they are hoping that somebody would take notice, would look past the facade and look deeper and see the hurt that they are going through, and everybody around them seems to miss it. So because they know how it feels to be lonely on the inside, they know what it feels like to be heartbroken and depressed on the inside, that they go out of their personal way to make everybody else around them feel okay. Because even though they are hurting, and even though they are going through this inner battle with themselves, they still don't want to see anybody else around them feel or experience what they're going through internally. That was the lesson that I gathered when the news broke out that Robin Williams killed himself. May his soul rest in peace, and his family, I hope their family are okay and, making it day by day, because we never really get over someone's death. We just learn to adjust to life without them. But, the constant reminder of them not being there is ever present. So my heart again goes out to every single person that may have experienced a loss of a loved one via suicide. I can't even begin to imagine what they're going through, and my heart goes out to them. But that is the lesson that I gathered. And again, I cannot stress this enough. That is my personal opinion. It doesn't make it true. It doesn't make it fact. But that is what was put into my spirit. And that is what I have come to believe. So again, I ask everyone listening to this, was it that these individuals didn't ask for help? Or was it that we just wasn't paying attention? Was it that we just wasn't listening? Because when you're in a state of depression, you're not going to come right out and say, hey, I'm depressed. Hey, I'm hurting. They're not going to come right out and say it. But deep down, because they're embarrassed, when the news broke out that Twitch died and the nature of his death, and I'm on social media and I'm reading the comments, and the only thing people are saying was that he had everything. He had the fame, he was popular, he was on TV, he was always happy, and he was always this, and he was always that. Do you know that it's possible to have everything but have nothing at all? I don't know if I'm making sense. It is possible. It's kind of like one of those paradox that is hard to understand. Having everything, or according to the public eye, appearing to have everything, but still having nothing because you feel like something is missing. Still having nothing because you have your own personal insecurities, you have your own personal issues, and you have your own personal problems that at times you are too afraid to face. And at times you are too embarrassed to say, this is what I'm going through. This is what I'm feeling. So oftentimes, people being depressed would ask for help. It just will not be a direct way of asking for help. It's almost like, you're asking for help indirectly, and you're hoping and praying that someone knows you well enough to see through the facade. You're hoping that someone will see you clearly vulnerable in the state that you're in and say, hey, listen, I know you're not okay. I know you're going through something. I'm not going to pressure you to talk about it, but just know that you are not alone. And when you are ready to talk, I am here and I'm ready to listen without bias and without judgment. Sometimes they just need someone to say that just to make them feel seen. Because you can be in the public eye, you can be the center of attention and still be overlooked and still not be seen. And when I say be overlooked and not being seen, is that people are not seeing you. They see you, but they're not seeing you. They are not seeing the real you. So despite the fact of, being popular and being in the public eye and everybody loves you or whatever, there is still that sense of loneliness that you feel within yourself. Because even though everybody sees you and everybody knows who you are still not being seen. And in the Black community, it's almost as an unspoken taboo, because nobody wants to admit that they have traumas that they have to deal with. Nobody wants to say, well, hey, maybe I do need to seek therapy to deal with a traumatic experience in my life. The Black community would grin and bear it. We would face our troubles, our pain, our hurts, our traumas. We would either face it head on and bleed out into the world, into our communities in a negative way, or we would simply sweep it under the rug, ignore it, pretend like it never happened, yet living a destructive life and not realizing what is happening to us because we don't want to acknowledge, not for 1 minute, not for 1 second, that we had a traumatic experience in our lifetime and we don't know how to handle it. We weren't taught how to handle it. We are taught to just simply grin and bear it, keep pushing, keep moving forward, sweep it under the rug, ignore it, pretend like it never happened, and just keep it moving. We are not taught to seek help. We are not taught to say, hey, this burden is too much for me to carry on my own. Maybe it's time that I seek professional help and maybe find a way to deal with my inner demons. But slowly but surely in the Black community, we are finally starting to get it. What I mean by that is that now we are advocating for our mental health. Now we are advocating for others to acknowledge their mental health issues. We are no longer sweeping it under the rug. We are no longer ignoring it. We are finally making a conscious decision to do something about it. And the other aspect of going through a mental health crisis, of going through depression, is the fear of being ridiculed. Okay? Because it is a known fact that Black people, we will laugh through anything and everything. Okay? It's almost like it's a coping mechanism for us. We will make light of everything. We will joke about everything. So even with that, as a person going through depression or a person going through a mental health crisis, oftentimes the number one thing that is keeping a Black person from acknowledging their mental health issues or speaking up about it or simply asking for help is the fear of being judged and the fear of being ridiculed. Because listen, from my personal experience, I could remember growing up, whenever I was feeling sad, whenever I was feeling hurt, I guess one would say growing up, I was always considered the bad child. Okay? I was always considered to be the most rude and the most misbehaved or whatever. When I say I was the child out of all of my siblings that always used to get popped, that always used to get whooped, that was always getting into trouble. That would be me. Okay? That would be me. But that was simply because something was missing. Something was missing in my household that I wasn't getting. And so I acted out. And I remember on several occasions where I would try to speak up and voice my opinion, and nobody would listen. Nobody would listen to me, and that made me angry, and that made me even more hurt than whatever had hurt me prior. That it was awful, okay? And then I thought to myself, I'm like, okay, seeing that I am unable to speak, nobody is listening to me when I'm trying to talk or when I'm trying to express myself as to what I was feeling, as to what I was hurting or what I was angry or whatever I was feeling at that time. Nobody was listening to me. I thought to myself, okay, I'm just going to write a letter. I'm going to, put everything on paper, and I'm just going to leave it where somebody could find it so they could read it. And let me tell you something, okay? Parents, if your child is trying to speak to you in regards to their feelings, please listen. Please, it is imperative that you listen. So I would write my feelings down. I put everything down on paper. So my parents are Haitian, okay? And they're not exactly, good at reading English. So my siblings would find it and they would read it. And man, when I tell you, they would laugh and laugh and laugh and laugh and laugh and laugh and laugh some more. Like, they would tease me. I literally just wrote down on a paper, on a note, this is how I felt. This is what was hurting me. This is what you guys did to hurt me. And my siblings would find it. They would read it and explain it to my parents. They would laugh. They would laugh at me. They laughed at me. And my parents, they would get angry. So that taught me to bottle things up inside. That taught me never to open up about my feelings, never experiences, whatever. I thank God for my kids. I thank God for my kids because looking at the world through their eyes and learning from my past experiences. Mind you, there are still some traumatic experiences that I have to work through, but I can honestly say that I am at a better place right now because I know how to express myself now. I know how to set my boundaries. I know how to let people know, hey, what you're doing is not okay. It is hurting me, So I said all of that to say is because we would ridicule, make light of, make fun of anybody that would express going through something. It's something about it. So a lot of times that is one of the main reasons that fear of being ridiculed, of being embarrassed would really stop and hinder a person from seeking help. That embarrassment of being ridiculed. Even if a person would have said that I'm going to seek help. I'm going to reach out to a friend. I'm going to reach out to a family member and talk to them about what I'm going through mentally, emotionally. What will they think of me? Are they going to understand and sympathize with me? Or are they going to laugh and ridicule me? The other side of it is that who can I trust is also a trusting factor. It's also playing in my mind as a depressed person. Who can I trust? To open myself up enough to express the hurt that I'm going through right now, or mentally and emotionally, that they will keep certain information to themselves, or are they going to talk about it? Are they going to gossip about it? Are they going to gossip about me? When a group of people are sitting in a circle, or if they're on their group chat or whatever, am I going to be the topic of discussion? See, all of that plays in your mind. And when all of that starts to play in your mind, it's almost like a greater grip of fear, a greater grip of hopelessness takes over you. That even in the moment of wanting to talk to someone and reach out to somebody, just the fear, the embarrassment of being ridiculed and being gossiped about is enough to stop you on your tracks. You then convince yourself that I can do this by myself. I can face this head on. I can overcome this on my own. But sadly, that is not always the case. Sadly, there are many people that have lost their way into the darkness of their mind. There are many people, unfortunately, that has become so consumed with their demons that when they fall into the state of depression and they go down that rabbit hole of their minds, unfortunately, there are people that don't make it out. They have totally and completely lost their way. And when they have lost their way, they're in this tunnel of darkness and they see no ray of light, no sign of hope, nothing. They don't know how to get out. And when they finally see a glimpse of hope, when they finally see a ray of light at the end of that dark tunnel, it's usually not a way out. It's usually when they have come to a conclusion that nobody cares about me enough to notice my pain. Nobody cares enough to see me and when I'm actually hurting. So that little light at the end of the tunnel of darkness in their mind is usually when they have come, to the conclusion to end it all. And so when they make that final decision that they are going to take their life, they become the most happiest of people. It's almost like the pain has stopped because they already make a decision. They already know what they are going to do. And so they resolve in their mind that this is my only way out. But until I get there, I'm going to make my last moments with the people that I love the most enjoyable moment. Because when I make up my mind to leave, that is how I want to be remembered. So usually the months or the days leading up to the day they decide to commit suicide, it's almost like they become their normal, happy, cheerful self again. It's almost like they had escaped the prison of their mind. So the illusion is usually more grand and more happier than how they previously were, because they already make a decision. They've already made up their mind that they're going to end it all anyways. You know? So they create happy moments with their loved ones. So when they do end it all, the people that are left behind are left in a state of confusion. Like, I don't understand what happened. Like, yesterday we was just happy. We was just smiling. And, you know, for the past couple of months, I can almost tell that they were going through something, but I was hoping that they would have reached out and talked to me about it, because I didn't want to pressure them or whatever. And, I thought things were getting better, but how can they do this? Like, what did I miss? So again, I ask, is it that these people are not crying out for help? Or is it that we are too self-absorbed and too consumed within our own self to even notice or pay attention to when a depressed person is crying for help? I just felt I had to share my 2 cents. In the Bahamas, we say my 5 cents. I just felt like I had to share my thoughts on this matter, because that is something that every person, including myself, have to research so that we can know the signs or pick up on the signs. We need to educate ourselves on depression, what the telltale signs are, so that we can pay attention and be more vigilant to the people that are around us. We need to educate ourselves more on what the symptoms of depression is, including myself. And by doing so, maybe, just maybe, and we as a whole, as the Black community, we need to do better as far as seeking help is concerned. We should never be embarrassed about seeking professional help when dealing with traumatic experiences. We should never be afraid to ask for help or to seek professional help when dealing with mental health issues. Because at the end of the day, our state of mind is all that we have. And all that and the only thing that we also have is each other. So mental health is definitely something that we must take a little more seriously than we take everything else before it's too late and before we lose another person that we love. So with that, I just want to, send my love out there to everybody. Virtual hugs. I'm wrapping myself around you guys in love by the kindness and the graciousness and the peace of mind that God has to offer to everybody. Be true to yourself. Be true to who you are. And take care of yourself. God bless.